Hi everyone, this is Steve Plock, aka Plocko, coming to you from southern Wisconsin in my office. And this segment is going to be covering the short game, wedges, and then putters. So we're going to start with wedges in our newest introduction, and that is the MG2 or Mill Grind 2, and how this is different from the original Mill Grind wedge. So the first, as you can see, is there's two versions. There's a chrome version or a black finish, and the biggest change in this wedge is that they feature a raw face. And so as I remove this sticker here on this raw faced wedge, what you soon discover is that the face or the scoring line is unfinished or non-plated. What will happen with this wedge over time is it will rust as it gets exposed to the elements. And why is that a benefit to a golfer? Well, the first benefit is it will create more friction, aka it will lead to more spin. Why is that good for you? Well, anytime I can get more spin with my wedge, I have better control of how my golf ball performs around the green. The big advantage to a raw finished wedge, and you can see I'll hold up the black version that has been exposed a little bit to the elements and it's starting to rust. I've not intentionally tried to do that. But what happens is, really we are essentially in two conditions for golf, either dry or wet. And wet could be rain or it could be dew. And that really impacts the performance of a conventional wedge. So if I had TaylorMade's original Mill Grind wedge in my hand that was not a raw faced wedge, and I had a tour quality golf ball and it was dry out, the wedge would spin around 10,000 RPMs if I had a 56 degree wedge. The minute the golf ball gets wet, whether it's dew or rain, that spin rate declines to around 6,000 RPM. If I have raw product like this, the spin declines, but it declines to around 8,000 RPM. So the benefit of that is the consistency from dry conditions to wet conditions, they're closer. So I can have better consistency in my wedge and overall better performance. The beauty, and we're not the first to do raw faced wedges, or a raw wedge I should say. We are the first company to do the raw portion only in the grooved area. What you'll see is in the black and the chrome, they're not raw on the backside or outside the scoring lines. So cosmetically, they will remain as like they are new. So you'll have the benefit of the beautiful cosmetics and the player enhancement performance with raw. I have one other wedge here, and that's high toe, and high toe was introduced about a year ago, maybe a little longer. And the first thing you'll see is this is a copper finish to it. This will darken as it gets exposed to the elements. But the first thing that you'll notice is that the scoring lines, unlike MG2, the scoring lines in the high lofted high toe wedges, which is the one in my left hand, run all the way to the edge. It's a bit unconventional. And so, you know, sometimes people say, hey, why would I want to do that? Well, the advantage of the high toe wedge, first of all, is I have more mass high on the toe of the golf club, which is really raising the center of gravity. And when I have a higher center of gravity on a golf club, it will lower the trajectory. So if I had a 56 in a high toe and a 56 in MG2, this wedge will launch lower without impacting its spin rate. The other advantage with the groove structure of this wedge is as I open the loft of the club up to hit a flop shot, what happens is my path changes and I expose more groove to the surface area of the golf ball, which then I can impart more spin in that situation. The very third and final and subtlety of a high toe wedge is because I have more mass away from its axis of rotation, the shaft, in heavy rough, there's less tendency for the club to be shut by thick rough because I have more mass here. So that's the biggest advantage of high toe. When you get into the lower lofts of high toe, say 50, 52, and 54, the scoring lines don't go all the way to the edge. And the reason for that is that's not a club that's prone to be opened up to hit flop shots. So that's all things wedges. And in the standard mill grind wedges, whether it's black or chrome, we have low bounce and high standard bounce options in those in each of the lofts. And the lofts here are anywhere from 48 to 60 in mill grind 2, and then in high toe we start at a 50 and go to 64. As I shift the focus over to putting or the flat stick, you'll see that I have several categories of putters here. You have the spider lineup, which is right here. I have two colors here. There is a third called chalk. And they feature true path alignment, which is this larger white zone here. Anytime I can get the alignment aid at least half the size of the golf ball, you have less eye fatigue or easier to square up. So that's Spider X, and I'll take you through why Spider X, how Spider X improved. If you look at the sole of the putter, this sole is now carbon fiber, and carbon fiber is a lighter material than stainless steel. In the very first version of Spider, this was stainless steel, so the overall weight of the sole plate was 80 grams. Now the sole plate is 15 in this area. So I have this raw piece here where I can pull out the sole, and this is 15 grams. We didn't make the putter 65 grams lighter. What we did is we pushed the weight out on the perimeter, maintaining the same overall weight as the original Spider. But anytime I can do that, what happens is the putter is more stable on toe and heel shots, which makes it a better putter. So that's Spider X. I have it both in a navy and white, a copper and white, and then there's a new color called chalk and white, and that's like an off-white. Then I have the next Spider, and this is called Spider S. And Spider S is really working on CG getting back, because this back bar here is tungsten, which is a very heavy material. And then as I flip this putter around, you'll see that there's tungsten in the sole both here, toe, and heelward. So it makes it a very stable putter with a CG that's far back. Again, a high moment of inertia putter. Again, going over moment of inertia, what that will do for a putter is it will resist twisting on toe and heel shots, which means that the rollout of the putter, or the golf ball I should say, will be more consistent toe to heel versus center, and the blade won't open up or close if I hit it in the toe or the heel, so you won't send the ball right or left of the cup. So that's Spider S, and that's also available in a chalk version as well. The next is our conventional series, which is the TP series in patina. And I'll just show you a traditional shape that everybody's familiar with. And it's along the lines of an answer style that Ping designed in the late 60s. And so the newest additions here, and this is really a different finish versus last year's black copper. It's more of a bronze finish that still features the pure roll insert, which we'll talk about here shortly. But the two new styles and that I have here this is DuPage, and DuPage is a more modern mallet. So it still has a higher moment of inertia for a more traditional mallet size or or shape. And I have movable weights in the bottom of this, so you can get heavier or lighter movable weights there. And then I have this other model, which is a double wide blade, and this is called Del Monte. And you can kind of see, if I compare it to this traditional blade, you'll see that you have a wider blade style. So you have different things going on here, which we'll talk about in how to choose a putter here shortly. This last series of putters is brand new, and it's called Truss. And the name came from like building trusses or bridge trusses, which adds a level of stability. And you'll see right away how it got its name. As I use my pen as a pointer, you can see this triangular shape here that adds a layer of stability to the putter that ordinarily a shape this size wouldn't have. The beauty of this putter is it's not real pretty from the front, but as I turn it around, and if I were putting over it, I do not see this truss portion. So you get all the benefits of stable for a putter, yet you have the shape and size of a traditional putter. And we'll do that in a mallet or a blade, and here's the mallet. And this happens to be a center shafted mallet. And again, from the front view, you can see the truss shape here, but if you were from this view, you don't see it at all. So this is a face balanced putter. So as I'm trying to find what the best putter is for the style of putter I am, a face balanced putter tends to help someone with a square back to square forward stroke. That helps highlight or accentuate that stroke. If I'm someone that has a gate motion stroke, something with hang, and you can see how this has a degree of hang, it is no longer face balanced. So that one's going to want to swing open and shut. So most of the spiders there are some face balance options, but most of them have a short hang. And then you can see the Spider S, because it is a single bend putter, it is a face balance as well. And I'll just show you a more traditional putter, and you can see the amount of hang that occurs here. So just to highlight the pure roll insert, this is an insert that we use different materials throughout the models, whether it's a Surland or an aluminum insert, to give different sound and feel feedback. But the pure roll insert, this is a grooved putter at a 45-degree downward angle, and what we found is that that produces the best result, because every putter has loft, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 degrees of loft. What ends up happening is, as I strike the golf ball with the putter, the ball gets launched out of the depression from the green, creating backspin. And anytime I can omit or eliminate backspin, I have the ability to have a more true roll and a better chance of making the putt. And so anytime I can get a grooved putter or a putter with a grooved insert, I minimize and lower that backspin. So it starts to roll quicker, which again, if I can prevent a putt from skidding first and start to roll sooner, you'll end up making more putts. So that's a quick explanation of our insert, and there's just different materials that we'll use throughout our putter line. And that's it for putters from TaylorMade. Look forward to seeing you on the links this year in 2020.